Hey, Fort Mill High School, I'm Mr. Young, your career development facilitator, and I have before you today a very, very interesting man with a great career that I'm glad that he's able to share with us today. Mr. Matthew Storm, how you doing today, sir?
I'm doing well, doing well. Thank you for having me over here.
Glad to have you. Glad to have you. This is also very special as a Fort Mill alum, correct?
Okay, that's correct. Class of 95. Yes,
All
sir.
right, all
Yes,
right.
sir.
So students pay attention. He's going to share with us a lot of good information, and we're just going to go ahead and get started. So, Mr. Storm, why don't you tell us a little bit about who you are and what career you have?
Sure. So my name's Matt Storm. Of course, I have a phone call coming in. I work a lot. So I work at the film office down here in Columbia, and we're located at the State House, on the State House grounds. So we're kind of close to legislators and lobbyists and all these other people that I had no idea who they were until I took this job. So I went to film school and graduated in the early 2000s, and went out to LA, worked on a bunch of different TV shows, kind of weaseled my way into the locations department. I thought that I wanted to be a writer, and I realized that I needed to pay bills more than I needed to write. So I got into locations, which I learned very quickly is a super interesting career and job, and it allows you a lot of interaction and a lot of access to kind of the behind the scenes of filming, which is something that I always wanted to do anyway. When I was in high school, I used to make these stupid movies every weekend with my friends, and so we thought we were really funny and really creative. And then it turns out that this is the path that I went down. So we were out in LA for a while. I worked on some TV shows, some movies. Most of your students are too young to have a clue what shows I would be talking about, but a bunch of different stuff. And then there came an opportunity to come back to Charlotte. My wife and I, moved back to Charlotte with our kids, and worked on where is it? So worked on this show, Outcast, which shot in Rock Hill and Fort Mill and York County, and some other stuff in Charlotte, Wilmington. Got an opportunity to go down to Atlanta, so I moved to Atlanta and worked on some stuff down there. And then this opportunity opened up, and at that point, I was ready to kind of pack it in on the production side. I'd put in 13 years, and it's a location is a very, very hard, time consuming job. It's great for people that are interested in kind of learning every craft and how every craft interacts with each other. And I can get into more of that a little bit later, because that's kind of the interesting thing about film. But yeah, so they pulled me over here, and I've been in this job for 4 years, and I think we're doing pretty cool stuff over here. So yeah.
Absolutely. I got to tell you, when I think about the film industry, my mind automatically goes to the credits at the end of a TV show, credits at the end of a movie, specifically, and just all the different people who are involved.
Right.
I mean, and you may or may not know this, but how do you go about managing that many people on one film or one TV show?
Well, it's really a lot of that is hiring people that can do the job. So if you ever watch a film come into a neighborhood, or if they're setting up to shoot at a house, you'll watch, and I've heard this described as people watching ants just go everywhere, but they know where they're going. Like there's a coordinated effort because departments are concerned with their individual work. So if we were to go shoot, let's say we're shooting in your office, right? And they want to shoot a scene in there, so the grips know how they need to bounce the light off. The lights or the electricians know where they're going to put light on your face. They're going to have a light over your head to hit that key light on your forehead. They're going to have a light behind you to show the depth between your head and the background. They're going to light up the side to kind of give a little bit of an interesting look. So the DP is kind of in charge of all of that. The director of photography is kind of in charge of all of that. He has his electricians, his grips that do their part. Then there's the set dressers. It's a branch of the art department that come in And after they're told how they want, or how the production designer wants to see your office, they come in and they dress it. So they put the pictures behind you, they put the diploma back there, they put the other stuff, the desk, they shape it out how they want to. But it's a horde of. I was working on really big projects, but even smaller projects have I'd say 40 people that kind of come in and swamp it. On a larger project, we would have shows. We'd have days where we'd have 120 people and then 300 extras for a scene, and then a full cast. So then it's a lot. To answer your question, it's a lot. It's a lot of work. Yeah.
Yes, sir. It definitely seems like it, but it's wonderful to see the end result. So like I said, a lot of coordination for a really good result at the end.
Yeah. Well, clearly you haven't seen the shows that I've worked on. So you might not agree.
So now tell me, what's the absolute best thing about your career?
What I like about my career right now is I've got the opportunity to. All right, let me back up. So when I came into this position, our office is given X amount of money to bring in projects, which is why we're able to bring in Outer Banks. Right now, the big guys are Outer Banks, obviously, and The Righteous Gemstones. It's an HBO show. And they take up the lion's share of the money that we get in every year. We only get about $15.5–16 million, which sounds like a lot. It's not a lot when you make these movies or when you make these TV shows. So that doesn't leave a lot for other films to come in. So when those movies aren't shooting or those TV shows aren't shooting, where does the rest of the crew go? Well, they go to Atlanta or they go to Wilmington or they go to LA, and they're not staying here. They're not buying houses here in South Carolina. They're not a constant stream of influence in their community or their schools. They don't, it's tough it's a really tough, very transient job, or it can be. If you live in a center of activity like in LA or in Atlanta, you're afforded a little more home and stability with that. But to be able to do that here, we really need to. I feel like if I'm managing the money well, and I can do some more outreach within the state and grow our community, our community resources here, and kind of let people know that these jobs are out there, these jobs are real, and these jobs are really good paying jobs, really interesting. You're usually around smart people all day long, and you're usually around really creative, fun people, and it's a fun job. Even as stressful as it can get, you take a step back and you're like, this is still really kind of cool. To make people aware of that, I think, is my favorite part of the job. Like I said, I went to school in Fort Mill, and Fort Mill at the time even was a pretty affluent area, and we were afforded a lot of really, really cool luxuries. The band, I was in the band. And they were pumping money into the band, I'm sure, and the arts. We had a really great theater program. I had no idea that you could work in film. None. If I didn't know that, how would a billion other kids that go to school in this state know that? So what we've done is we have a bunch of programs. Well, I say a bunch. We're still kind of a smaller program or a smaller department, but we have other programs that we've done trying to grow the state's the indigenous crew here in South Carolina. So we have a thing called the Indie Grants program, where South Carolina native or someone that is tangential to South Carolina, they can submit a short screenplay and possibly get it funded for up to $35,000. This is really interesting for your viewers, I think, the Young Filmmakers Program, which I sent y'all some information about it, but I can resend it to you too. So high school students specifically, they shoot a 2-minute black to black movie from beginning to very end, and it's got to have one element in it, and then they tell a story, and the best story wins, kind of thing. We have a little screening down here in Columbia. They win $500. Even second place gets cool. $300. So doing that kind of thing, trying to get some outreach. We've got a thing called the Get on Set Initiative at USC now, where we're funding features. We've done this twice now. We funded 2 feature films that shot here in South Carolina, used all South Carolina crew. We're able to train up a bunch of people that have gone on and did some internships on Outer Banks. And hopefully, we can kind of keep that roving. We're reaching out to the upstate to try to bring folks in. There's a big community up there in the upstate that wants filming. So I'm trying to bring in, USC Spartanburg. They've been a really great partner with us. We've spoken with Clemson, Anderson University. So working with them, Benedict College. I got some stuff going through Benedict College right now. So really the best part of my job is spreading the word out and trying to raise up and trying to inform people like these are real jobs, man. Like this is, if you have an uncle that is an electrician and you always thought maybe I could be an electrician, be an electrician on a film set, for crying out loud. You make better money. You work hours and you make better money. And there's always work for it. If you like to paint, if you're good with construction, there's just a myriad of different opportunities in the film world that could be open for you if you express some interest and kind of look into it. So that's very long. I apologize.
Oh no, that's fine, because that's a really exciting avenue, because something I've never even considered. Because I was actually speaking with a young man today about the opportunities about being working HVAC and working plumbing, but I never considered doing that same type of thing, like construction work on a movie site. It's a great opportunity.
Yeah, somebody's got to build the flats. Somebody would build the desk behind you so that it fits how they need to bring it in. I mean, everything's smoke and mirrors, and if you can be a part of that smoke and mirrors, it's an interesting thing.
Okay, so now let's talk about the other side of the coin. What are some of the more challenging aspects to your career?
All right, I actually wrote this down because I didn't want to be. So honestly, about this career that I have right now, it's kind of learning the politics behind things, because we're with the state government, we're a state organization, learning proper avenues to be able to get what I see as important done. But I've been able to kind of navigate that pretty well. I mentioned Benedict before. We've got a program that I'm trying to get started. I have a meeting next week to kind of finalize and get off the ground, where we're going to do some film training for DJJ. There's some kids in a DJJ program down here at Broad River, because Benedict already has an outreach through them. So it's something that we can do to kind of show them, hey, you don't have to go back and come back into Department of Juvenile Justice. You can actually go on and have a meaningful life. And here's a way to do it. Again, these are avenues that these kids would never know existed. So kind of manipulating the channels and figuring out how to get what I want done, if that makes any sense.
Absolutely. Yes, sir. So last question I have for you.
Sure.
Let's pretend that we bring you back to Fort Mill High School.
Mm-hmm.
You have a chance to speak to the entire student population and give them one piece of advice for their career search. What would you tell them?
I would say, I would say that there are jobs out there that you do not have to go to a traditional 4-year college for.
That's true.
I was very hesitant to say that because I don't know what avenue you're trying to steer kids. But look, it's great for some people. If you want to be a teacher, if you want to be a doctor, if you want to do a lot of things, you have to go to a 4-year school. You don't have to go to a 4-year school to work in film. And you come out, you make good money, and you can keep making good money. And again, it's very interesting work. It's not for everybody, right. But if you're willing to put the time and learn and kind of take your lumps as you go along the way, it can be a really rewarding path, and it's worked pretty well for me. So I would say not, D1 schools are nice and football's great, but when you're looking at a real career, you don't have to do the 4-year college.
And you know what we're all about right now is just making sure the students have all the options that they have. So not going to a 4-year college is definitely something that's there, whether it's going straight to the workforce, the military, 2-year school, 4-year school, whatever have you. We're just here to help them out. So Mr. Storm, thank you so very much for this great interview. Students, keep paying attention. We're going to have some more of these videos coming up soon, and y'all have a great rest of the day. We'll talk to you later.
Have a good one.